Well, hello out there. Welcome to another episode of Walk the Dog Cinema. I hope you've all been having a good week, a good month, wherever you may be. I'm going to do something a little bit different. It's the last day of the month, January here, and kind of want to do this every month just for fun. See what you all think out there, and really kind of get to it. At the end of every month, I kind of want to touch upon a top 10, do a list, and kind of go off of the theme of the month that I'm doing this kind of movie adventure, and just kind of reiterate some things and see where it goes. Create some conversation. I'd love to see other people's lists on what they think about all of this, and we'll go from there. So month of January was all about the golden age of Hollywood, the 1950s, and so what better way to end the month than kind of going with my top 10 of the 1950s. As you can see, then the neighborhood dogs are all out expressing their opinion about the 50s, I guess. Enjoying barking at my Rokaroo dog. So let's get started. Top 10, 1950s. These are my top 10. Obviously, they're going to be much different than maybe your top 10. Probably have some like, really? That one? Try to make a point for all of them. And, again, I want to see some comments about your top 10 1950s. Maybe some on there I've never seen. It's quite a few I haven't, but it always is an interesting way to see how people think and feel about movies, right? You'll see some of the same directors on my list. To be honest, the top 8 were somewhat easy. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say like all the way. My number one was my number one for sure. But once I got to 9 and 10, whoo, I really had a rough one. There were some really good Disney films on there. There's some that I left off that are true classics. But yeah, 9 and 10 were really tough to kind of put in. I could see doing this list 5 years from now again, and that changing, at least 9 and 10, just on how I feel. But some notable mentions, I'll get to those at the end, but here we go. So number 10, I have Night of the Hunter, Robert Mitchum. And for me, no better kind of depraved aspect horror movie, The Night of the Hunter. Just the Robert Mitchum character, the preacher. It's where we get the love-hate on the knuckles. Just nothing sinister, nothing more sinister. I mean, that movie, when you really finish it, suspenseful, dramatic, what Robert Mitchum wants to do to the children, and it's a doozy. You kind of, when you turn it off, it's one of those that it sits with you. And as a horror movie, you're not into blood and guts and things like that, but it is a little talky, but it's one of those that it's just very suspenseful, but it is a horror movie. The subject matter and everything about it is just, it's depraved in that regard. But because of the 50s and the code, it ends good. It's just a well put together thriller, and an excellent movie. It's just one of those that you watch over and over for me, and there's just nothing better than Robert Mitchum's villain in that one. So number 9, I went, and like I said, my 9 and 10 were kind of a little all over the place, but this movie that I've always just liked. It was one of those, even when I was like 7-8 years old, that I remembered, and it just always tickles my fancy. Stalag 17, William Holden. Obviously, it created Hogan's Heroes from it, and you know, it World War II POW camp movie. But I really like the political intrigue within the camp, and kind of them trying to escape. And William Holden's character is the thesis of the anti-hero. It's not a really likable guy in the movie, but you want to see him succeed, and he, and escaping just because of the ordeal of it all. And there's some funny moments. The movie moves really fast. It's a great script, and again, an interesting William Holden character. And it's just a movie that, for whatever reason, if I see it on TV, I just can watch it, and it just never bores me. So it's a movie I really, really do enjoy. So come to number 8, and this movie is epic beyond epic. I have the 10 Commandments. For me, it's not just the acting, it's the spectacle, the color. It's the 3-strip Technicolor is on prime display in this movie. Biblical epic, and it's an epic movie. It's got everything, pageantry, but and vistas, and the shots, and the grandioseness, and truly a marvelous achievement in filmmaking. To think what they did in the 50s with the special effects. It's got the parting of the Red Sea. That's amazing. I mean, it's just one thing after another in the movie. But at the end of it all, it's got Yul Brynner's great performance. It's got Charlton Heston's great performance. It's got Ann Baxter, the great performance. And it's spectacle. It's kind of what you go to the movies for. I can imagine, just sitting in a theater, seeing it in, CinemaScope, and the colors and the vibrancy. It's an amazing achievement. It really is a movie that I would kind of put it. And it's one of my all-time favorites for sure. On to number 7. I go with the master of suspense. It's not my favorite of his, but it is a great one. The Rear Window. For a movie set movie, it's genius. James Stewart, Grace Kelly. It's my introduction to Grace Kelly, even over High Noon. But very, very much, you can see Alfred Hitchcock. The camera loves Grace Kelly in this movie, but great performance. This is from James Stewart, Raymond Burr, who doesn't have much to do, but he's still a great villain per se, and Grace Kelly. I love the banter between James Stewart. The script is tight. Thelma Ritter is great as a person, so in there. And it has great suspense. It builds to a great climax, and again, it's one of Hitchcock's best ones, and it's one I can just watch over and over. I just enjoy all the little details of the set and the voyeurism of it all, and just how Hitchcock is kind of having his cake and eating it too within the movie, and making us feel like James Stewart, and subjecting us to everything. And it's top notch in all the subtleties of that. So great movie. Okay, so now we move on to number 6. I have a movie I reviewed right out of the gate, All About Eve. What more to say? The script's amazing. All the performances are amazing. It's one of Bette Davis's best movies that I've seen her. And again, it led off the 50s, 14 Academy Award nominations, deserves every one of them, and go on and on with All About Eve. Just fantastic movie. And yeah, it's just one I can kind of rotate and watch, right? So not more really to be said of that one that I already said earlier, but it is number 6. Number 5, go with science fiction, The Day the Earth Stood Still. And ultimately, it's a hard science fiction movie. I love the themes of the film. I love just kind of everything about it, and just in its simplicity. I love the idea of the film and the alien, and he's benevolent, and how we react to it, and it plays off of already all the kind of science fiction that was going on, that aliens are evil. But again, the themes, the soundtrack is amazing. If you have that movie, or you have a good sound system, play it, because the soundtrack is just adds so much to the film. And again, it's not an overly long movie. Love the central relationship with the boy and the alien, and it gave us I think I'm gonna say this right, but Klaatu Natu Ritna, and maybe I kind of ashed Evil Dead that one, but it's kind of the lexicon of science fiction that a lot of directors nowadays have kind of inserted as a visual gag, or but classic science fiction. It's, again, a movie I can watch over and over. I love the black and white visuality of that film, and if you've never seen it, please see it. But my top 5, and the 50s really started the sci-fi craze, and that's one of the best ones. Number 4, again, a movie I reviewed and gotta have it, Mr. Roberts. Again, nothing more that I can say about Mr. Roberts. The acting, the story, just everything's top notch. Though it is not my most favorite Henry Fonda of the 50s. That'll be coming up soon. But it is a great performance by Henry Fonda. But Jack Lemmon slam bang in it, James Cagney. Movie you can watch over and over, and it just doesn't get old. It just does not get old. And one of my favorites. Now we get into the top 3, and here we are, the 3. And I don't know if by now I've already set all your hairs on fire, or oh my gosh, how can you have picked those? There's a lot in the 50s that you can interchange, and I get it. So again, I can't wait to see some of the comments about what your top 10 would be. But number 3 for me, this is another Henry Fonda vehicle, but just great character actors. J. Lee Cobb. It's just masterfully directed by Sidney Lumet. I have 12 Angry Men, and I actually read this play in high school. I read the J. Lee Cobb part in high school. I'm familiar with the play, and then to see the movie and be so familiar with the script, and the movie is a masterclass in acting, character acting, but really directing also. There's just some great examples of how a director can enhance performances with his camera. And it's very subtle in the movie. It's a movie that I kind of want to review down the line at some time. I won't get too much into it, but 12 Angry Men is a slam bang. It's low budget, really one room, one set, and just pure star power and character actor star power on display. You have the voice of Piglet from Winnie the Pooh. He's in it. I mean, like I said, J. Lee Cobb, who, he did other movies, but he's also in The Exorcist. But Henry Fonda is the lead, not as the lead juror, but kind of takes obviously front and center stage. It's just just a great movie. Just fantastic. Now I get to number two, and gonna put in a musical here. Going with Gene Kelly. I went with Gene Kelly, Singin' in the Rain. It's a movie that didn't really get into until college when I saw it. Film professor showed it to the class and we did a whole discussion on it, and it goes beyond just being a musical. Obviously it has Gene Kelly's Singin' in the Rain part, but O'Connor's number is classic slapstick comedy but in a musical number. But the story about Hollywood turning from silent film to talkies is wonderful inward look at itself. And you know, musicals were still big in the 50s. It's, to me, one of the best. You know, you had Seven Brothers. I mean, there's a ton in the 50s, but just from pure fun, pure just unhinged, the colors, the directing, the choreography, just the memorableness of it all, Singin' in the Rain. And it's a movie I can watch just all the time, over and over. And yeah, absolutely love it. So here we go. The big number one for me. You know, it's not a drama. I guess for me, it's one of my all-time favorite directors. It's not a movie of his I haven't seen. It has Cary Grant in it, an older Cary Grant, but it is a movie that is a thriller. It's action-packed. It's got romance. Technically, it's a spy thriller on one level. It's got all the Alfred Hitchcock leanings. It's got a great soundtrack by Bernard Herrmann. And to me, it's the pinnacle of Hitchcock. It's his best movie by far for me. It may be not as nuanced as, say, a Vertigo or as shocking as Psycho. But pure energy. Just kind of a master at his craft of just dealing excitement and thrills and just the whole nature of what a movie is. And that's fun. And you still got great performances and star power and, you know, beautiful ladies. It's North by Northwest. Of all the 1950 movies, it is my favorite. It kind of closed out the 1950s in 1959. It's like Hitchcock built to it. He kind of took everything the 1950s was, and you know, you have a great villain and just the spectacles with the ending, and it's a movie I do want to touch upon at some time in a review, but it is my favorite 1950s movie. And so there's my top 10 list. Love to hear yours, and y'all have a great weekend. We're moving on to February. I'm going to kind of challenge myself to watch movies, romance. Valentine's Day is in the middle of the month, but I'm kind of also going to challenge with a little bit extra with that to find movies where the main theme is love for oneself, just love in general and how it does for people. So I'm not just going with romantic comedies, you know, where love is the central key, in terms of love for your friends, in terms of how characters are dealt with, where the central plot or the central theme is, you know, love conquers all in that regard. And so there might be some surprises along the way that comes down the pike to watch and I review. And hope to have you all enjoying what's coming for the next month. But challenge yourself with film and enjoy. And if you wish to see more of this, please don't forget to subscribe and join the community. And leave your comments on your favorite top 10. Have a good one, everybody.